You are listening to the Right of the Month podcast with Mike, Gwen, and Alex from Outside the Box Associates. Every month, your hosts will have a real-world discussion about rights that many of us take for granted from a different perspective, the lens of disability advocacy. It may look a little different, but we live, we laugh, and we love just like everybody else. And we share the same rights as everybody else. Join us as we explore the practical aspects of these rights. It may just change your perspective.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mike Rogers.
Hi, I'm Alex Shesko.
Hi, I'm Gwen Squire.
And we are Outside the Box Associates. And this is our commentary on the Right of the Month. Mm-hmm. So today's Right of the Month is the right to privacy. Mm-hmm. You know, when I think about the right to privacy, Alex and Gwen, I think about options, because when, you know, as a person with CP, you know, sometimes these services, family events in our lives kind of get in the way of our privacy. So I always think of privacy as choice.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think of it kind of as, you know, when do I want the staff? When I don't want staff? When do I want family around? When I don't want family around? Mm-hmm. You know, since I live in my own apartment, I can kind of have, you know, kind of choice about that. But there are people that live in certified settings in different ways of living in our community that may not have that right off the bat. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think about that?
I would say that my view of privacy is a bit more nuanced. I would see it as more as like closed doors or knocking before entering a room, you know, because, you know, people have the ability to do what they want within the realm of, you know, how they choose to express themselves. And, you know, if staff is just barging in and, you know, they see something they may not want to see, or, you know, they may be interrupting a private moment for that person, that's very embarrassing. Also, you know, not leaving the door open when they're being assisted, like in the bathroom or in some kind of situation like that, especially in, you know, assisted living situations where there's a lot of people around. You know, nobody wants to see somebody's butt hanging out, you know, while they're in the bathroom, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I've had it where the door, you know, my door's been broken before, and you know, the bathroom door, you know, doesn't close right. And I'm like, no, we're not doing it this way. We're figuring out a way to close that door, because I ain't going to the bathroom with people seeing my stuff all hanging out.
Yep.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I think I've shared with you guys in the past. When I was living in an institution at the DDSO in West Seneca, they used to we didn't have privacy back then. They you could actually see into each other's bathrooms, the boys and the girls, because they were directly across the hall from each other. So we didn't really have privacy. And when I actually did get my own room out there, because I was going to be, you know, living with my family, my family care family, they wanted me to practice living in my own room, so to speak, and the staff never knocked, or, you know, they just barged in or whatever, whenever they felt like it. So we never really had privacy out there. So I kind of think of it the way Alex does as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can kind of get that with family too. You know, if you're around your family, sometimes they think they just can come in, or you know, privacy is more than just space. Be in your business, want to know what that's all about. You know, and I know it's family sometimes, so it's a little bit more difficult. But but even with, you know, in the community, they think that, you know, people with disabilities should tell everything about their lives to professionals or to the rest of the community, because our lives should be an open book. And I don't agree with that. I think we should be able to have our secrets per se, and you shouldn't know everything about us, and it shouldn't be written down, and unless we want it that way. And particularly with sexuality and different things like that.
Right.
Yep.
Sorry. Yeah.
I think a lot of times that's violated. And I know you kind of agree with that, Alex.
Yep. Yep. I would also say too that oftentimes privacy can also come down to even more things. The people around you, the people that support you, don't need to know everything about what you're doing. As long as you're safe and keeping other people safe, you know, they don't need to know everything you're into as far as your sexuality, things like that, because while it's okay to be comfortable to have those conversations, or it should be, sometimes staff doesn't need to know everything entirely. So privacy is also different. That's a different form of privacy as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some people are comfortable telling everybody everything, but I can tell you that I'm not. That's not their business unless you need their help with something that you can't do. I also wonder what you guys think about the idea of certified settings or group home livings. There are some people with disabilities that live in group home situations, and they might have roommates.
Mhm.
And I've always thought that you know, I know it could be difficult, but I believe people should have choice whether they have a roommate.
Right.
Whether those situations. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Alex, do you want to go first or what?
Well, so I'll be honest, I don't live in that kind of situation. However, I will say, just on a more empathetic point of view, I would say that roommates should have an agreement as far as like what kind of uh, what kind of things they should do if they have a guest over. Putting a
Right.
sock on the door, that kind of thing. If there's a sock on the door, don't come barging in. Always knock. That kind of thing. Don't snoop around other people's stuff, in their belongings, that kind of thing. Those are some pretty basic rules, but they should be established for
Yeah,
anyone
I
that
agree.
other. So
I totally agree with that.
Right, right.
I also think that you should have a choice to who your roommate's going to be, but that doesn't always happen.
Yeah, I think and it's not a criticism, because
Right.
it's difficult, but I think as far as systems go, because we outside the box is a community based everything. Since we want to work with everybody in the community, no matter what disability they have, what living situation, but I think they need to work on communal living and how we do that, because if you don't want to have a roommate like anybody else in society, as long as you can afford it, you shouldn't have to have a roommate. That's
Right.
my opinion anyway.
Mine too.
right.
I agree.
It's just not ordinary. Somebody just, oh, you're gonna have a roommate, this is the way it's gonna be. I think that to me is can be considered a violation of privacy if you don't
Right.
have that choice.
Exactly.
I know some people aren't going to like that opinion, but
Well, that is our opinion, though, right? Yep.
Yep.
yeah, because we want people to grow in their living, right?
Yes.
Including us. Everybody grows all the time, and if,
Yes.
and if you're in a situation that you don't like and you don't have control over, you know, I remember one time that you know sometimes people will just open the door because
Mm-hmm.
they want to do something in your room,
Yes.
and I'm like, no, no, you can't do that. You can't do that, especially since I have my own apartment.
Right.
We need to have those boundaries.
Yes, you do. Yes. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah,
Um, and oftentimes, unfortunately, a lot of people with disabilities will get roommates simply because it's more cost effective. And that, unfortunately, that's kind of a situational thing. But, um, it's unfortunate because, some people may not want a roommate, but they're kind of forced to have it simply by virtue
Right.
of financial necessity.
yep, yep.
Yep.
I like the roommate that I'm living with. We've lived together for years, but both of us have said, you know. We wouldn't be able to make it financially if we didn't live
Right.
together. So
Right.
I'm a perfect example of that, Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, Mike.
we're just lucky that we like each other, because sometimes personalities don't work out.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when it comes to staff, as far as privacy is concerned, is there anything that you guys feel that staff could overall just do better as far as respecting privacy, that kind of thing?
Um, my staff is very good about my privacy. Like they knock, they don't come busting into my house. Like I was just thinking when we were talking about family, my family does. They use they use my extra fob and they just come in the door. They don't knock, you know. So, and I'll be like, well, what if I was getting dressed in the living room for whatever reason,
Right.
and you just came busting in here? Well, we're family. Well, so what? You still should like knock or at least warn me that you're coming.
Right.
But my staff's always giving me a warning, and they're always very respectful of my privacy. So I'm lucky in that regard.
That's good to hear. What about you, Mike?
I think what it is, I mean, for the most part, my staff that help me out are pretty good with privacy. But I think part of privacy is also alone time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think you should be able to schedule like alone time, like say you have a significant other, or just want to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And oftentimes, like with staff, it's always about getting the hours in and making sure that they're
Yep.
paid. And I get that, but I've made sure that over the years that there is some sort of alone time, especially with relationships,
Mm-hmm.
because if there's always a third wheel kind of there,
Yep.
I'm fortunate enough to be able to do enough for myself to have that be,
Mm-hmm.
because I've had discussions with staff, and they've even said, if you're doing something with somebody in your bedroom, I don't want to be out here listening to that,
Right.
or I mean, it may have to be that way for some people sometimes. I don't know, but when you talk about sexuality and relationships, most people don't want to be out in the living room or out in the kitchen listening to that.
Yep.
So alone time is very important.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
And my family, they don't come over enough for me to worry about them barging in. We schedule visiting time.
Yeah.
What about you, Alex?
Yeah, one of the rules I have in my family is they always text before they come over. They can't just pop over, because to me that's just rude. And you wouldn't do that to anyone else. Like that's just rude to pop over without any kind of, you know, warning at all. And I'm lucky enough that I live in a place that I have two doors. So I have the foyer door, and then I have my apartment door. So people have to get through two doors in order to get to me. So it's really hard for people to just barge in unless they have a key. But I don't give a key out to just anybody. So that's a really great thing, because I really like my privacy. I like the ability to do what I want to as I want to. If I want to be naked in my own living room and not have to worry about people barging in, then I'll be naked in my own living room, and that's fine. I mean, a lot of this also comes down to respect for just the person itself. I mean, when you think about it, privacy, it's not just privacy in respect for staff, it's privacy for the person themselves. Because by virtue of the fact that their privacy is being respected, that's another way of saying I respect you. And that's really important. So, we're not just some animal that, you can just walk in on and give a bath to and feed and whatever. We're people that actually have personal and private lives that should be respected. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I don't agree with like cameras in homes and different things like that, because that's just not a home to me. Any kind of home is the person's home.
Yep.
Whether it's like a certified setting, a group home, it's still their home. They're paying rent through their services. It's their home. Even if you work there, even if you're family, it's their home, and it needs to be treated. like their home. It's my home. It
Yep.
needs to be treated like my home. Like I have an automatic door. People don't get just certain people get access to that code. I don't give that to everybody, or
Right.
access to the outside door. To the outside of the building. I don't give that to everybody. You
Okay.
have to tell me you're coming.
Yeah. Okay, so
Right.
your situation's a little different than mine. My fob, the extra fob I gave my family was when I first moved in here, because they were worried about me, blah blah blah. You remember that, Mike and Alex. So
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
first time moving on my own and all that. So, but anyway, all you gotta do is hold up my fob. It's not like really a code. I think it's got my number in it, like the building to let it in, and then my door. Some people will ring the doorbell, other people won't. More people in the building ring my doorbell than my own family does, to be honest. I mean, they let me know that they're coming when they get here. I let them in and then they're at the door. And, most of the time I know it's my family, but
Right.
it's still the fact that, okay, you didn't tell me you were coming over. And maybe I was doing what Alex was doing, maybe I was hanging out,
Right.
in my underwear or something. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, but
And, you could have warned me.
So Gwen, have you ever talked to them directly about it? Been like, hey, have you ever thought maybe to text me before you come over or call me? Just to let me know,
Yeah,
before you actually get to my door. That's what I mean.
yeah, I have, but they're set in their ways, is what I say.
I
They
got you.
they grew up barging in my door and like, well, what do you got to hide? Why do you need us to knock then? They kind of had that attitude, you
Right.
know, and like, or this isn't Leave It to Beaver or the Brady Bunch. We don't knock when you come in,
Right.
and come in the room. That's how they kind of responded to that.
Well, okay. So, am I allowed to get a little spicy in this conversation right now?
Yeah.
yeah, spice it
Okay.
up.
So, I will admittedly say that I have some sex toys. And
Right.
I don't keep them out, in public because, I don't need people seeing them, but
Right.
I do use them. And, if people are barging into my apartment, and not without knocking or whatever, and I'm busy doing my thing, that's really awkward. And that's
Yeah.
awkward for everybody.
Yeah.
So, knocking and respecting people's privacy is super important because even people with disabilities have the right to those kind of activities.
Yes,
And
we do. Yep.
frankly, if our privacy isn't respected, it'd be really hard to actually enjoy those kind of moments because we'd be always on guard for who's going to come in next,
Right. Yep.
So,
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, I've had people that just don't think of the fact that you could be in there with someone else,
yeah,
or even if you are in there with someone else, like in your bedroom or wherever you are in your place,
yeah,
that you might be doing something like having sex,
right,
Right.
and because oftentimes people don't think of us as doing that,
Well,
right,
we're not
and
sexual beings. They don't think.
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. So they,
I think we're sliding into a different topic a little bit, but it's okay. Um, I think it's good. I think one of the things that should be regarded though too is that it doesn't even come. It can be whatever. I mean, you could have a secret, I don't know, Teletubby collection you don't want anybody to know about. I don't know why that came to
yeah,
mind, but whatever.
yeah,
And if you don't know somebody's coming over and then somebody finds out, that could be really embarrassing for you because you don't want other people to know. We have a right to privacy by virtue of the fact that everybody has a right to privacy. Just because we're people with disabilities doesn't mean we're any less able, I guess would be the word, to privacy.
Right.
yeah. Not at all.
So,
Not at all. We definitely do have that right. Even in your own personal space, to have some things locked up or
yep,
kept in a private area without somebody just thinking that they can rifle through stuff
yep,
because
Hmm.
they're helping you or whatever.
Right.
Um, I know, Gwen, that you say, they're your family and everything like that.
Right.
Have you ever thought of asking for, like, is your door to your apartment automatic,
It
or
is.
is
Yep.
it is? Have
Yeah.
you ever thought of asking for, like, keypad or something so you can change it? So let's say one day you didn't want somebody to be able to just barge right in, you can change it, and then you can give it to somebody who you want. Because I've been in relationships before, then when that relationship didn't work out or whatever, and they had the code, I changed the code, because you're not getting, if I don't want you coming in, you're not coming in. Just a suggestion. I'm not saying you want to eliminate your family from that. I'm just giving you an idea that that might be possible to change the code.
Yeah, we are supposed to be getting pads, because we've all talked about that in our building with our manager, and we are supposed to be getting them sometime within the next few months.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to help, to be honest.
Yeah. Only certain people have access to even the building code that we have. Because you're not gonna. Because what if relationships change and they feel, oh, Mike's got this and this, I'm gonna come steal it or something.
Right.
Exactly.
So. So that's that kind of deal to me. Well, this has been a great conversation. We've touched on a lot of things, and privacy is very important. So join us next time for the right of the month, and we always are going to spice it up a little bit. Make sure that the not always the common things are talked about, because we want people to learn and grow and do all that good stuff here at Outside the Box Associates.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Come back.
You've been listening to the Right of the Month podcast with Mike, Alex, and Gwen from Outside the Box Associates. The Right of the Month podcast airs every Thursday and Saturday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern here on Heartability Radio. Listen on Live 365 or www.heartabilityradio.com. We'll see you next time.